Until his death in 1985, Leon Collins was well known to Boston audiences as one of the nation's greatest tap dancers. When he wasn't performing in New York or abroad, Collins could be found dancing at local clubs or teaching at Harvard's summer dance program. David Wadsworth recently completed a video documentary on Collins' life entitled Songs Unwritten, A Tap Dancer Remembered. WBUR's film critic Ron Jenkins has our report.
On the other side, now, triple right here. Triple right here.
Songs Unwritten is an intimate documentary tribute to the smooth tap dancing art of Leon Collins. Collins began his career during the Depression on the south side of Chicago. He and his teenage friends would tap out a few time steps on a street corner and pass the hat for nickels and dimes. During the 40s and 50s, he was a featured performer with the bands of Jimmy Lunsford, Earl Hines, and Billie Holiday. He was married at the time to a singer named Tina Dixon, who billed herself as the bombshell of the blues. Her bebop style was typical of the music that nurtured Collins' tap dancing rhythms throughout his early career.
He's built like a sailor, fights like a Marine. He's a big bad private. Ooh, 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 ee-bop, lee-bop. Ee-bop, lee-bop. Ee-bop, lee-bop.
Immersed in the melodies of jazz, blues, and bebop, Collins learned to sing and play the guitar, but most of the time, he just made music with his feet. When he improvised with great musicians like Dizzy Gillespie, Collins showed up at the jam sessions with an old pair of tap shoes and played percussion with the scraps of metal on his toes and heels. While most tap dancers focus on rhythm, Collins was one of the few who used his taps to create melodic patterns. When tap dancing went into decline, Collins moved to Boston and went into the car washing business. For 14 years, he hardly ever danced and made new friends who never knew that he could tap. It wasn't until the tap revival of the 70s that Collins ventured into public again. In his mid-50s, he was rediscovered, acclaimed as one of America's greatest tap dance artists, and invited to perform all over the world. Not content to recreate his old routines, Collins continued to innovate, tapping to Bach and other classical composers. David Wadsworth's documentary does a great service in preserving some of Collins' most fascinating performances. The clarity of Collins' complex tap patterns is captured in all its crisp sharpness, and Collins' body glides on top of his taps with effortlessly understated elegance. As for Collins himself, Songs Unwritten leaves us with a powerful sense of the man's love for his art and the generosity he displayed to the students he hoped would carry on the tradition when he was gone.
I tell you, the only thing that really gets me disgusted, if I make up a step and there's no one in the studio for me to give it to. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I'll forget it.
I'll teach you how to write.
I know so much stuff. I said, this sounds good, and I'll forget about it. But if it's a student there, they don't have many steps. They would remember it, see? Yeah. So to me, even though I made it up and I didn't give it to anyone, I think that's wasted.
Songs Unwritten, A Tap Dancer Remembered will be screened tonight at the Agassiz Theater in Cambridge. Ron Jenkins reviews film and video for WBUR.